Alrighty, everybody, thank you for checking in on Stormtopia.com. Of course, a lot of hype going around the web right now regarding the northeastern U.S. and midwestern U.S. snowstorm, potentially by the 18th through 21st of October. I will be addressing that in this video, so stay tuned. Sorry for the raspy sound of my voice. I have a 3-day cold. That won't leave me alone. First of all, let's do first things first. Alright, let's go over the forecast for the next couple of days. Then we can talk about that storm. Alright, here's the current radar imagery, nothing going on. Now, today's forecast is going to be 7 to 13 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, high pollen levels, and some fair weather clouds developing in the afternoon. Now, at the same time, we've got rain pushing out of the south, so by tomorrow, we're dealing with rain all up and down the mid-Atlantic, spreading back into southwest New England. The good news is that the pollen will be pretty much eradicated in the areas that do get rain, and it's also going to be even cooler. Should be like, I think everyone's going to get knocked down into the 60s tomorrow. And by Thursday, we might actually make a rebound. The rain's going to start to head off into New England. It should be gone by the early morning hours. So afternoon sun can be expected. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer. Alrighty, folks, time for the enjoyable part of this video. The first snowstorm of 2011 to 2012. It's a big if, sponsored by MetLife. I'm just kidding. MetLife did not sponsor it. I just had to include that in the video. Let's take a look at what some of the models are showing right now, and then I can go over my thoughts. Okay? Alrighty, here we go. Now I'm going to control bar in, zoom into this picture. Alright. I don't know why this isn't quite working. Alright, well, this is the best we can do, I suppose. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at the Canadian. And this is just good at setting the stage for the storm. Alright. Look out to 96 hours. It just has this weird thing sweeping through the northeast. We don't need to worry about that. But here's what you need to concentrate on. Shortwave starting to enter these areas. And as you go out in through time, shortwave pushes east. But that is really not the big deal. The big deal is the shortwave that comes behind it. Now, it's not the only shortwave. We got a bunch of shortwaves, but this is the one the models really want to blow up. Okay? And if you look at how we're setting the stage here, alright, we've got the shortwave, we've got the moisture in the Gulf of Mexico, we've got, let's see if I can zoom in, there we go, we've got the cold air ready to get tapped out of Canada. We've just set the stage for a significant snowstorm. Let's see how it works out. As we go on for time, this is the GFS model. Again, concentrate on that shortwave in the upper upper left corner of your screen. Notice how it dives south and east. It starts to interact with some cold air. And the GFS doesn't really make it significant in terms of a snow producer until it taps out of the Gulf of Mexico. And what we do is we're seeing rain change into snow on the backside. A ton of rain. I think the GFS is overdoing it, which would not be unheard of. But this would definitely be probably a couple inches all the way back in here. Well, not that much. Probably a couple of inches, maybe all the way back in here, or something like that. Now, that would be significant, because this is very early in the season, alright? And then this is a quick mover. There can be no doubt about it. I'm really not worried for big East Coast snow potential, as I am within 50 miles of the coast. Back through the Appalachians and into the Midwest and this area. Now, the reason for that is that if you look at where the storm is getting its moisture from, we are specifically tapping the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, all our moisture is coming from the Gulf of Mexico. You can follow those isobars into the center of the storm. They're coming from the Gulf of Mexico. And they're coming from the warm southern Atlantic. That's not conducive to a snowstorm. Now, admittedly, usually snowstorms do get their moisture from there, but usually it's not forced right up into the eastern seaboard, okay? Usually it's off the coast that we're seeing these copious amounts of precipitation. So we might have to be worried about a flooding potential. So that's just something to look at on the GFS, but this would still be pretty significant, pretty impressive for October. I mean, remember, this is still October, alright? This is not mid-January. Let's take a look at what the European does. It brings that shortwave in and out a little bit quicker, and it pulls it right back up into the midwestern portion of the United States. Here's the problem I have with the Euro. It doesn't really have a moisture source, yet it still blows up, and this would be a huge amount. Well, this would be a couple inches maybe back in here. huge amounts of snow, maybe 6 to 12 inches, all the way back up in here, which would be very interesting and rare for October. But here's what you need to concentrate on. This storm is blowing up so significantly. We have a 985 millibar low pressure center, but where is the storm getting its moisture from? I can't see a good source. It's got the Great Lakes, so we're getting some lake enhancement. That's for sure. But it's not tapping the Gulf of Mexico, and it's not really tapping the Atlantic. The only time it ends up tapping the Atlantic is when it heads back up in here, and when we start to see those outer rain bands sort of sweep into the typical calm ahead. But at that point, it's cleared us. So that's a problem I have with the Euro. I have problems with the GFS too. I have problems with the Canadian. Well, I don't have problems with the Canadian yet because it hasn't rolled all the way into the time frame we're looking at. But we'll have problems with all these models, folks, and eventually we can get a better idea if anything, we have a snowstorm on the way. For someone, I guarantee it. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for checking in.